Welcome to our last presentation on the series of the benevolent system. I hope that the presentations have been enriching as we have been laying the foundation for people to go and study more on the issue of benevolent system and how the work of God is to be supported and even how is to be carried forward. And so I want to look at one of the last things. I want to look at one of the last things, and that is entitled A Cheerful Giver. For when the sanctuary was being built, the Lord told Moses to tell the children of Israel, those of the willing heart, to bring whatsoever thing they had for the upbuilding of the building of the sanctuary and of the upholding of the sanctuary services. And so I thought that I will end on such a high note, a cheerful giver, a message which resonates with all of us. And so liberty in liberality, Exodus 35 verse 5. Take ye from among you an offering unto the Lord. Whosoever is of a willing heart, let him bring it, an offering of the Lord, Exodus 35, verse 5. And so this was no system of compulsion, but a system of a heart which had been yielded to Christ. Systematic benevolence should not be made systematic compulsion. It is free will offerings that are acceptable to God. True Christian benevolence springs from the principle of grateful love. Love to Christ cannot exist without corresponding love to those whom he came into the world to redeem. Love to Christ must be the ruling principle of the being, controlling all the emotions and directing all energies. Redeeming love should awaken all the tender affection and self-sacrificing devotion that can possibly exist in the heart of man. When this is the case, no heart-stirring appeals will be needed to break through their selfishness and awaken their dormant sympathies to call forth benevolent offerings for the precious cause of truth. Testimonies of the Church, Volume 3, page 396, paragraph 2. Again, complete freedom. The plan of redemption was entirely voluntary on the part of our Redeemer, and it is the purpose of Christ that all our benevolence should be free will offering. Review and Herald, January 1, 1875, paragraph 17. An old principle: if his offering be a burnt offering of the heart, let him offer a meal without blemish. He shall offer it of his own voluntary will at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before the Lord. Leviticus chapter 1, verses 3. In Leviticus 22, 18 and 19, whatsoever he be of the house of Israel or of the strangers in Israel, that will offer his oblation for all his vows and for all his freewill offerings, which they will offer unto the Lord for a burnt offering, ye shall offer at your own will a male without blemish of the beeves, of the sheep, or of the goats. A consistent principle. In Leviticus 19:5, we are told, and if ye offer sacrifice of peace offering unto the Lord, ye shall offer it at your own will. Leviticus 19:5. Leviticus 22:29, and when you will offer a sacrifice of thanksgiving unto the Lord, offer it at your own will. Continued on in Leviticus 2:1, a consistent principle we are looking at, and remember we are looking at the last of the laying of the foundation of the system of the benevolent, that is number 13, a cheerful giver. Leviticus 2:1, and when any will offer a meat offering unto the Lord, his offering shall be of fine flour, and he shall pour oil upon it and put frankincense thereon. Sacrifice still required today. But what kind of sacrifice? All are required to have an interest in this work. Some have never made any sacrifice for the cause of God and are asleep as to what God requires of them. This individual sacrifice is not required because the cause of God is suffering for means. But every heart will be tested and it is character developed. It is principle that God's people must act upon. The living principle must be carried out in life. That is Spiritual Gifts, Volume 4B, page 53, paragraph 2. A principle for today. All our blessings come from his bountiful hand. In turn, he will have men and women show their gratitude by returning him a portion of tithe and offering, in thanks offering, in free will offerings, in trespass offerings. Should means flow into the treasury in accordance with this divinely appointed plan, a tenth of all the increase and the liberal offerings, there will be an abundance to carry forward the Lord's work. Reverend Herald, that is February 2, 1911, paragraph 16. An everlasting principle. There is ever to be in the treasure of the Lord means to be used for enlarging the work, for entering new territory and building sanctuaries where those who accept present truth may worship him in the beauty of holiness. God calls upon his people to bring off their means in tithes and free will offerings to him. Reverend Herald, December 17, 1901, paragraph 9. Again, a forward-moving principle, we are told those who are laboring in new fields should be encouraged to plant the standard in new places, to annex new territory for God. Camp meetings have to be held in many places. Churches have to be raised up and organized. There is to be a pressing into new territory. Will not my brethren and sisters throughout the world consecrate themselves and their possessions to God? God help them to bring free will offerings to him who gave his only begotten Son to save them from eternal death. Reverend Herald, December 17, 1901, paragraph 15. In Gospel Workers, 1892 edition, 296, 269.3, God's requirement, never should the laborer who raises up a little companies, never should the laborer who raises up little companies here and there give the impression to those newly come to the faith that God does not require them to work systematically in helping to sustain the cause by their personal labors and by their means. Manuscript Releases, Volume 21, page 247, paragraph 5. Grumbling requirement. Now, I wish you to understand fully that God does not want, neither will he accept an offering made grudgingly and murmuringly. For all that you have given with this spirit, you will receive no reward, for not 1 cent of your money will God accept. Only as you make it a free will offering, feeling that it is a pleasure for you to be acting stewards of God, the Lord passing the means into your hands and you passing it out as his cause demands. If you have not means to pay your pledge, then don't grumble. The Lord does not require what you have not. Do the very best you can. And so you find that even in the bringing of tithes and offering, what God is requiring is a free will offering. He is not wanting from anyone offerings that are of a murmuring heart. And so there has been unhappy results from making urgent calls for means at our camp meetings. And there has been a pressing a lot by the ministers the issue of money until people thought that all our message was based on money. Our message should never sound like it is based on money. People's hearts have to be won to Christ, and then when their hearts are won to Christ, their pockets will be won to Christ. And so when thou shalt vow a vow unto the Lord thy God, thou shalt not slack to pay it, for the Lord thy God will surely require it of thee, and it will be sin in thee. But if thou shalt forbear to vow, it shall be no sin unto thee. In Deuteronomy 23, verse 23, we are told, that which is gone out of thy lips thou shalt keep and perform, even a free will offering, according as thou hast vowed unto the Lord thy God, which thou hast promised with thy mouth. And so God has set in a systematic, benevolent uh, system so that it may be able to help the sanctuary services. And so the plan of systematic benevolence is pleasing to God. And if it becomes a burden to you, then don't do it, because to God it's not a burden, it's pleasing to Him. You should only do things that please you. But at the end of the day, remember something, that all that you have and all that you are is of God. And so God is um, needing a people who will not be guided by emotions and impulse, but a people who are sensible to the work that is going on, both in the heavenly sanctuary and the field or the vineyard, which is this world. The widows and the fatherless, God also has a claim upon their charity. They need to aid others. They should not be taught only to depend on others, but also have something to give unto God. You remember the woman who gave into the chest the little that she had. She was a poor widow, but she gave what she had. It is a free will. And she was even afraid to be seen by anyone that she was giving. And so our giving should not be that people may see us, but our giving should be on the sole purpose of reaching unto God Himself, who sees the things which are in secret. So the great message of the mercy, the last message, has to go to the world, and it will go by our free will offerings. First of all, we have to offer ourselves freely, and then our finances have to follow. And so we are told God has given us a plan. He has given His plan. He has given His people a plan for raising sums sufficient to make the enterprise self-sustaining. God's plan in the tithing system is beautiful in its simplicity and equality. All may take hold of it in faith and courage, for it is divine in its origin. Every man, woman, and youth may become a treasurer for the Lord and may be an agent to meet the demands upon the treasury. Says the apostle, let every one of you lay by him in store as God hath prospered him. And so God has appointed everyone to be a treasurer of his earnings and evaluate according to the will of God. What is the biblical blueprint of serving the Lord in the plan of redemption? In Deuteronomy 12, verse 5 and 6, we are told, but unto the people which the Lord your God shall choose out of all your tribe to put in his name there, even unto his habitation shall ye seek, and thither thou shalt come, and thither you shall bring your burnt offering and your sacrifices and your tithe and heap offering of your hand and your vows and your freewill offerings and the firstlings of your herds and of your flocks. That there is a place where God has put his name, where we have to bring all our tithes and offering. Every man should not run into anarchy and do things the way that they want, disposing their tithes and offering as they wish the best. The Bible will never be outdated, and there is no opinion or any book that can match the Bible. God's way cannot be compared to man. And when he says, this thing shall be like this, no man can improve on it. And so there is a divine accountability. There is a divine accountability awaiting every one of us. And in 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 1 and 2, we are told that to us, those who are counted as stewards, we need to be faithful in all we do, as people who are holding the mysteries of God. And so no other book has to be our guide but the Bible. And there is a principle that we find in the book of Matthew chapter 10, verse 8. Freely you have received, freely give. And as Paul says, that blessed is the hand that giveth than the hand that receiveth. And so in 2 Corinthians 9:7, every man according as he purposeth in his heart, so let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity, for God loveth a cheerful giver. And this is the title of our presentation, which is the last presentation in the laying of the foundation of the system of benevolence as it is in the Bible in spirit of prophecy. And so what is the conclusion of the matter? My brethren, you need to study more carefully the 58th chapter of Isaiah. This chapter marks out the only course that we can follow with safety. Bible Commentary, Volume 4, page 1149. Is not this the fast that I have chosen, to loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke? Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that are cast out to thy house? When thou seest the naked, thou cover him, and that thou hide not thyself from thine own flesh. Then the word then comes after doing all these things. Shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thine health shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go before thee, and the glory of the Lord shall be thy rear reward. Then shalt thou call, and the Lord shall answer thee. And when you're looking at the morning springing forth speedily, you can just read the book of Song of Songs, chapter 6. Who are those? Like an army with terrible banners. The army of the Lord going forth to conquer, because the light of the Lord has broken upon them. They're told, then thou shalt call, and the Lord shall answer. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, here I am. If thou take away from thy midst of thee the yoke, the putting forth of the finger, and speaking vanity. And if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry, and satisfy the afflicted soul, then shall thy light rise in obscurity, and thy darkness be as the noonday. And the Lord shall guide thee continually, and satisfy thy soul in drought, and make fat thy bones, and thou shalt be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water whose waters fail not. Isaiah 58:6-11. Every selfish, covetous person will fall out by the way. All such will be sifted out from God's people. Those who want heaven must, with all the energy which they possess, be encouraging the principles of heaven. Instead of withering up with selfishness, their souls should be expanding with benevolence. I'll writing 268. And so the order of Melchizedek, bring me all the tithe in the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house, and prove me now herewith, said the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven, and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. Malachi 3:10. And so at the end of 3 years, thou shalt bring forth all the tithe of thy increase the same year, and shall lay it up within thy gates. And the Levite, because he hath no part nor inheritance with thee, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow which are within thy gates, shall come and shall eat, and be satisfied, that the Lord thy God may bless thee in all the work of thine hand, which thou doest. Deuteronomy 14:28-29. And so 1 Corinthians 16:1-3. Now concerning the collection of the saints, I have given order to the churches of Galatia. Even so do ye. Upon the first day of the week, let every one of you lay by him in store, as God hath prospered him, that there be no gathering when I come. And when I come, whomsoever you shall approve by your letters, them will I send to bring your liberality unto Jerusalem. And so the Lord will want a cheerful giver. He doesn't want actually any offerings that are forced out. And so may the Lord help us as we study about the systematic benevolence plan that the Lord has given for the building of his kingdom, for the plan of redemption. And above all, may we come to examine our hearts, which is more important, because we can also bring these things and find that our hearts are not right with God. The first thing to do is to examine our hearts. Are they with God, or are they not with God? So may the Lord bless us. May the Lord continue speaking to us, and may He keep us as we continue studying in His vineyard and helping each other through this wonderful journey to heaven. It has been long, but soon, no one knows how soon, everything will come to an end. The question is, on whose side are you on? And may the Lord bless us. Amen.